back in 2019 was really when I first got started. I was stationed up in New Jersey, and I was listening to a podcast like this one. One of my buddies came into the room and was like, "Hey, you like that podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to get into real estate." Like,
Well, Rich Dad Poor Dad is great as an inspiration, but
Yeah.
it don't tell you how to do it.
exactly. A lot of entrepreneurs don't understand how to manage cash flow in their company, and they can go broke very fast.
Yeah.
Not saying that I am, but I have a little hint of what it tastes
Because
like.
maybe your wife is watching. And
Well,
Welcome to another episode of Break Away from the Rat Race. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Anthony Michael. Anthony is a hard money lender and active duty Coast Guard, and he's seeking financial freedom, or maybe he has achieved financial freedom in real estate development. He's a strong believer in relationship and networking, and he's also currently investing in fix and flip deals in the greater San Francisco,
Nope.
Central Florida area.
Close.
Very close, just at the other end of the country.
The world.
yeah, the world.
So this is a perfect introduction, I think. So Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
And I forgot to introduce my co-host, Antoine Martel, my son, and also my business partner. We've done so many things together, and we're still doing things together. So and we still like each other. That's amazing.
Yep.
Welcome. All right.
Yeah, I
Anthony.
think that's super cool that you guys are doing business together. Father
It is
son type
amazing.
team. That's awesome, man.
Oh, it's just amazing. I know it's my dream. I'm not sure if it's his, but it's mine.
We'll find out one day.
Yeah, on my when I'm dead.
Yeah.
well,
Your funeral.
that
Yeah.
jerk.
Yeah.
I have so many bad things to say. No.
Been holding this in 50 years.
All right, so Anthony, so tell us about kind of like your business. I know you have. Let's talk about the flips. I think you've been doing about 20 flips since 2019. It's probably more than that
Yeah.
now. So tell us about that size of the business, and then we can talk about the hard money lending part of it.
Yeah, I hate the being labeled as a flipper. Nothing against you, but the real estate company
no.
aspect of it. no.
Cut.
The tone that I set for my real estate company early on was to flip, because coming up through the ranks in the military and not having like a good financial background, I didn't have a lot of cash to play with. So in my mind, the only way to scale was to have more capital. I didn't know about private money lending at the time. I was just like, I need to flip, I need to make money, I need to flip more, make money, and then try to figure out where I'm going to allocate it, right? So I guess back in 2019 was really when I first got started in real estate. First off, in education first, as anybody should. They should build that foundation for what they want to do in their real estate company. But it really did start when I was stationed in New Jersey at my last unit, because I'm active duty military still. I was stationed up in New Jersey, and I was listening to a podcast like this one while I was at work, and one of my buddies came into the room and was like, "Hey, you like that podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to get into real estate." Like, it intrigued the hell out of me. I was like, "Man, I can't wait to start. Like, where do I go from here?" He's like, "Well, I actually flip homes here in the area," and I was like, "Well, we just became best friends. Let's figure out how we can work together." And I would say probably 45 days later, we were in a flip together.
Wow.
I gap funded the deal, so I had like 15 or 20,000 in my name at the time, and that flip to gap fund, it took 15 grand, and I was like, "Babe, please trust me. This is our life savings. I know, but I think this is gonna work out." So we put the 15 grand up to gap fund. That was basically the down payment for the hard money loan,
Yep.
and I was promised 100% return on my money. So first deal, 100% return. 90 days from start to sold to when the wire was cut by the title company on the selling side. I had my money in my pocket, and I was like, how do we scale? Like, where do I find more of these? And then I hit the wall of like, oh, these aren't just free on the street. Like, I can go pick one up in the mailbox. Like, I have to work to try to find these.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, okay, so time is going to be an issue because I'm still active duty. And second to that, I have no idea how to find these types of deals, right? So I searched high and low, what's the best market in the country to get into? It wasn't the northeastern states. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody, but
Yeah, really.
yeah. So it landed in Florida,
Yeah.
particularly Pinellas County, where I operate today. I know I kind of skipped like a lot, but
That's
I
fine.
want to get to the meat and
We'll
potatoes.
get to that.
Yeah. There's a lot of some impact there. So it landed on Pinellas County. I found my business partner in a Facebook investors group for Pinellas County, which is crazy because like I never knew the guy, I never met the guy, whatever. And we had talked for probably 2 weeks back and forth. I was just trying to figure out like if he was legit. I don't want to get scammed. You see all these like stories of like, oh, this guy took my money, and I'll tell you a little story about how I got scammed in real estate that led me to have this mindset. So he said, listen, I need you to have $250,000 in capital. And I was like, I got like 50,000 in capital, but you know, I'll see if I can like pick some up from friends and family or raise it, whatever. He said, all right, let me, you know, call me back when you have it. And I was like, all right, well, there goes that opportunity. But I was like, you know what? Who did we use to fund the previous flip that we just did?
Yeah.
A hard money lender. So 2 weeks later, after like going through all, like, I was like practicing what I was going to say to this guy.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to blow my shot, because I knew the guy was, if it was true what he was projecting on in the investors group, this guy was legit.
Yeah.
Right? Someone like yourself looking for outside investors. And I called him back and said, hey, I only have 50 grand still, or 51 maybe, because I saved $1,000 in the last month. But
you're a quick saver.
Yeah. Can I use hard money for the deals that we do? And he's like, well, I've never had an investor use hard money. It's only been cash. You know, I love cash because it's easy, which I get. But he was the first person. I was the first person that he took on to use hard money. And we got our first deal, and now we're 20 deals in.
Wow.
Over the last 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, so I want to talk about the flipping, because I think when we got started, we were planning to build a passive income portfolio. We had no intention of doing this turnkey business at all.
Yeah.
No.
And then it's just like when we talked to friends and family, then they started to be curious about what we were doing.
Yeah.
And then some of them say, oh, maybe can I buy like the finished product? And like the once it's rented and you finish all the renovation, can I buy it at the end? And I said, well, okay. And then, you know, and then one time, like Antoine called me and stuff like that, and said, you know what, I think we could do this business. We can do it better than what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And here's the 3 ways we can differentiate ourselves with against other turnkey providers out there. And that's how Martel Turnkey was started.
Nice.
Then we started doing that, and then the return was so good, and then it was just like,
Yeah, exactly.
why would I want to have like 10-12% cash on cash return when I can get
you're
much
basically
more
flipping rental
Yeah,
properties.
Yeah. But of course, it takes more time, takes more effort. We have to have a team, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
So your first deal that you did not. Did you have any training that you did before doing that? You just did podcast, and then all of a sudden you just say, okay, well, I'm going to do this deal.
So I would say that the 90% of the knowledge base that I had at the time was podcast and Rich Dad Poor Dad driven.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, Rich Dad Poor Dad is great as an inspiration, but
Yeah.
it don't tell you how to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
So the saving money
true.
aspect, managing funds, because like we spoke a little bit off the podcast earlier, but cash problems in a business,
Yeah.
managing cash flow in your company so you can grow at the pace that you want to grow,
Yeah.
right? So a lot of entrepreneurs don't understand how to manage cash flow in their company, and they can go broke very fast.
Yeah.
Not saying that I am, but I have a little hint of what it tastes
Because
like.
maybe your wife is watching and it's,
Well,
what?
yeah, and the crazy part is, like I told you earlier, I'm a one man show for this point in my life and my
Yeah.
wrestling career. I don't like saying I'm a one man show because I have teams and partnerships with teams but everything that's on my plate is handled by me.
Yeah.
Taxes, insurance, bookkeeping,
Oh.
it's all of it. So I've learned
I feel sorry.
that side of the thanks. I appreciate your candor. it has been a lot, trust me.
Yeah.
But it also I'm a back against the wall type person. So I learn better when not only am I a visual learner and a good listener, but I'm a good replicator. And when my back's against the wall, that's when I figure out like the type of person I am and how do I operate.
Yeah.
I operate best under pressure, even though like it's weird to say that because like some people like myself, like we struggle with anxiety and stuff and stuff like really starts to compile on me. But there's like a fine line that I have to walk where I'm like,
Perfectly relaxed.
yeah, not too anxious, not
Yeah.
too like
a nice
lackadaisy where I'm missing stuff in the business. Yeah, so it's been one of those things, man.
Yeah. And this is not uncommon. I mean, you get started with your business. Like, how many flips do you have right now that are
We have
ongoing?
we have 7 projects going.
7.
Yeah.
That's a lot of projects.
Yeah.
That's a lot of projects. But especially when you're on your own.
Yeah.
But this is something that, when you get started in your business, you end up that, okay, well, things are going well. You want to do more projects. You want to do more projects. At one point, you have to kind of think about, okay, well, I need to delegate my stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I can't be doing this. I need to focus on what's important. What's the value that you're bringing? What's the thing that is making the company your company
Yeah.
and growing and all of that? You have to focus on that. Otherwise, you end up in, that you can't grow anymore, or you're going to miss something, or you're going to end up with, problems that you didn't foresee, and cash flow problems, and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So,
And another thing I'd add to that is having a vision
yeah.
and knowing where your landing point is and your growth point, like how fast you want to scale. Because everything that I've tried to do thus far, like social media driven, business driven, everything has been organically grown, like not forced growth. I've had multiple opportunities to blow this company into 20, 30, 40 deals a year, but I've chose not to because I knew unforeseen issues were going to arise that I wasn't aware of. I just had the intellect from my mentors and other people, watching other people do it. Hey, there's something that's going to go wrong if I scale too fast. If
Yeah.
I get big too fast, too quick, something's going to break. And I don't want it to be something so catastrophic where it ends my real estate investing career before it even started.
That's right.
So I'm getting to a point now in my career where, I was happy with 2 or 3 deals, and then I was like, okay, so I'm getting out of the Coast Guard in a year. That was the whole goal, was like to have real estate investing and real estate tertiary income replace my Coast Guard salary, right? We did that the first year.
Yeah.
But now I was like, okay, how do I scale to where we're comfortable indefinitely? And that's the point I'm at in my business where I'm like, okay, if I do 10 deals a year that net me $100,000 a piece, and I do $1 million gross, and it's 500 after expenses and stuff, I'm in a 1%.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I need more than that?
I know. I'm surprised 1% is not bigger. Like 2 or 3%.
Yeah, right.
But no, I think so. How about passive income? Is that a component of what it is? Because even though, I mean, you are working in the Coast Guard,
Yeah.
and then you're planning to kind of like back out of that and then quit and then focus entirely on that. You're changing.
Retire. I'm not quitting.
retire, that's
You
right.
can't quit the military.
That's correct. All right. So you retire from that.
Yeah.
And then you go, and then you're going to dedicate yourself full time for that.
Yeah.
And for your real estate investment. But then this is another job too. So you have to.
Yeah.
So what's the plan
Especially
there?
flipping, yeah.
Yeah, especially flipping, yeah.
So
that's why I was thinking about the passive income part of it. Like, what are you planning to do any of
Yes.
that?
So let's dig into the partnership and the relationship aspect of like how my business is driven. So I would say 98% of my success I can attribute to either networking with people, having partnerships with other like members of real estate investing, or they own a real estate company or whatever, and then social media. My business partner I found on social media, who I flip homes with now on the real estate investing side. I flew down from New Jersey to meet him because I had previously gotten burned by an out-of-state investor who wanted my money on a lease to buy option. And he took $6,000 from me, and at the time that was a ton of money, and it's still. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to come off facetious or whatever, but $6,000 is always going to be a ton of money, just to throw out the door, right? I think after I learned that lesson of getting burned and not protecting myself legally and vetting the person, I learned a very valuable lesson early on in my career instead of later in the career when more could be at stake. So I'm very grateful that life lesson happened early. So after the due diligence and stuff with my partner that I'm with currently, I found out that he had flipped over 500 homes, owns $10 million in commercial businesses or commercial land and companies and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, why does this guy need me?
Yeah.
And when I delve into his business structure, where he can flip 50, 60 homes a year using none of his own capital, and none of the own all the risk or anything, right? That's a huge, and he still does his own flips with his own cash, but that's such a huge way to grow your business without a capital injection from like a hedge fund or like a big conglomerate or something like that, right? So he's teaching people at entry level how to flip. The way I have it set up with him now is the business owns the asset, my business, which he's not a part of, right?
Yeah.
So if anything in a partnership goes wrong, I still have control of the asset, which is the only way I would do business after I got burned on that $6,000, right? Because I didn't have ownership. I had no stake, right? I had no legal obligation to the property. So I structured it that way. And then we scaled based off of how much money we made off the properties, but also how much funding I could bring in as well. So I started raising private capital, and that comes from relationship building. So a lot of my private money came from.
So what does the partner bring? Your partner brings to the
So
the
it's
table?
a joint venture, party A, party B. I'm party A, transaction based partnership. I bring the funds, the financing, and fund
Bring
all the rehab.
fund, you do the work. You find the deal.
No work. I find it. I
While
help
you
find a deal.
You
Yep.
manage the contractor.
Yep.
So what does the partner do?
Well, no, he's the project manager for the. So
I see.
I'm business money side.
Does business
He's
money
boots
side.
on the ground.
Boots on the ground. Okay.
Project management,
I see.
selling the
Okay.
property.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's a beautiful relationship because he doesn't want to deal with finding sources of funding and blah 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 blah.
That's right.
Like he just leaves that on me, like all the transactions, funding the credit, I fund all my
And the
flips and
ac- and the
credit cards,
accounting
all
and
the
all that.
accounting,
Yeah, yeah.
taxes, whatever.
Okay.
And he's just strictly boots
Oh,
on
so
the
that's
ground.
good. Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, it's a perfect relationship,
Yeah.
right? And it worked out for me because that's his strong point, and this is my strong point.
Yeah.
I don't have time to be in Clearwater flipping properties with
Yeah.
myself, you know? So it really worked out in the sense that I could be remote while managing flips with him and still making a good amount of money.
Yeah.
And in relationship driven, so do you want to touch on hard money?
So yeah, let's talk
Yeah,
about hard money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because did that then lead you into lending money to other people then? Because you saw how well
Yeah.
it worked in these
So
deals?
let me touch real quick on the current real estate portfolio that we have right now is 7 properties,
Yep.
5 of which are going to be flipped, right? And then 2 we're holding one as a corporate rental that
Okay.
has $215,000 in equity in it.
Okay.
We bought it for $115. We put $15K into it. We're refinancing for $145. It's worth $345. It'll make $2,000 net after all expenses.
Yeah.
Second property is an Airbnb in Clearwater. It's 5 minutes from the beach. It's a 5-bed, 3-bath with a pool. Corner lot, beautiful residential neighborhood. We're gonna make projected gross anywhere from $150,000 to $180,000 a year on that property, and I have no money in the deal after the refinance. So it's like a perfect Burr B&B. So going into the cash flow, that cash flow will replace after partnership split my current Coast Guard salary.
Wow.
Off of just passive generated income. And it will truly be passive because we have a certain network up there that we're not paying a ton of money to, like a property manager.
Okay.
Or property manager for like Airbnb. Or,
Sounds
we have the
shady.
mafia.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there's
There's a certain group of people.
All they want is the ability
Yeah.
to dig some holes.
We
in the
pay them
backyard
these
every once in a while.
taxes.
Yeah, we pay the fee and the thing gets
Security.
done.
They do the thing.
Yeah. So not to go too deep into that, but we have we have a structure up there that's gonna allow us to net 95% of the revenue from the property after expenses. So that worked out great for us, and we're actually looking more towards redefining our portfolio and diversification now that the market's shifting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The good thing about the way I structured my business, and this is very important for your listeners as they're getting started or if they're already starting, I'm not a quantity guy. I'm a quality guy. So I'll sit back. I'm very patient. I'll sit back and I'll wait and I'll market to find the deals that I personally want to take down. Yeah. I'm not in a rush to take down a deal to keep people busy or to make 20 grand. I don't care. It's not numbers game for me on the quantity side. I want to make a good amount of money and have a lot of equity for multiple exit strategies as I'm moving through all these properties, which allows me to stay relatively low risk. Even if I'm running out of cash, I can still use the assets as bank accounts to pay myself back if I get in a pinch.
Yeah, because, you can make flip one house and make $20,000 and flip a similar house and make $100,000. and it's the same effort pretty
Yeah.
much for the
Yep.
most part, So that's good to focus on that. As long as you have the right market and you have the right exit strategies that are working for you and
Yep.
it makes sense, I think that's solid. So let's talk about the hard money lending. How
Yeah.
you got into that?
So going back to what we were saying earlier, so the partner that I'm with now on the flipping side referred me to a lending partner that he had known, a hard money lending partner that he'd known, to get my first deal funded with him. Because if you remember, I gap funded the first flip, so I didn't take title on that deal, so I don't have quote unquote experience. I was just a private money lender in a sense, right?
Yeah.
So for a no experience loan, it was easy, but now it's almost impossible to get a no experience fix and flip loan unless the deal is just a freaking stellar home run. It's an amazing market. They're super qualified. It's very difficult, and I only put 10% down. Now for funding a first timer, it's 20, 25, 30% down, just because they want you to have so much skin in the game because the market looks right now.
Wow.
So the first deal that I did was with that hard money lending partner, and about halfway through the flip, actually, when we first started the flip, I was coming home from work. We were in a rental house at that time, and my next door neighbor that lives across the street, he was outside smoking a cigar with a headset on, like talking all these figures and stuff that I thought I had heard on a podcast somewhere.
Yeah.
So I think I was pulling in the trash bins, and I said, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Tony. I was in uniform. He's like, oh, you're Coast Guard or whatever. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I couldn't help but overhear your conversation, but like, are you like some sort of like real estate guy or like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I'm a hard money lender. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm pretty sure I've heard about this before, like on a podcast and stuff. It piqued my curiosity because it's a sales driven business, and I'm a sales guy. Because my parents were entrepreneurs. They owned a furniture store. I sat in the office. I listened to the conversations and negotiations when I was in high school growing up. And I learned stuff that I didn't know I learned until I was able to use it on like conversations and stuff and calls. So I sat with him over the next, couple months and took the calls that came in. He let me be there to basically like shadow what he was doing in his business.
Wow.
And at the time he was making like 40 or 50,000 a month, and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Like, he's like, brother, this is all networking. I've been doing this for 20 plus years. I don't have to market anymore. Everyone knows who I am. All the referrals, like referrals and word of mouth will carry your business so far. And when I heard that, I was like, man, I really want to get into hard money lending because it's on a phone. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I learned that. And then we got into the flip with my partner in Clearwater.
So that guy basically, he had his money, or he was getting money from other investors.
Yep.
He was brokering.
But he
was getting the points basically for putting the deal together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, he was a broker.
Okay.
But he knew the people that would do the down and dirty stuff.
Yeah.
The 30, 40K rehabs in Baltimore, like the dirty stuff, low credit score people.
Yeah.
Like, he'd take a damn truck if he didn't pay up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm coming to get your car. Like, oh, you don't have a 640 credit score? I put up the title on your vehicle as collateral.
Really?
He was like that.
Oh,
like,
wow.
got really creative with it, right?
Wow.
And looking back now, it's such a backwoods way of business,
Yeah, really.
and
Yeah.
it really like non-conventional, right? And I think that's why he was so successful, because he found a niche that most people weren't willing to operate in.
Yeah.
And there was a huge calling for it, because people make mistakes. They'll let credit cards go, they'll let debts go. People aren't organized individuals. You know what I mean? That are on track with their expenses and finances and stuff, right? That doesn't mean they're a bad person or they're making a bad decision. That just means that on paper they don't look as solid for a normal lender to fund. So he would take those people and fund them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty crazy.
And then so you took these calls, like you were full-time on that, or?
No, I was just coming over,
Okay.
after work on a Friday. I would sit in his office for, a couple hours. We just take a bunch of calls. We go over like all the paperwork, all the underwriting criteria, how it all is structured. Obviously, I was learning so much at the time. I didn't get to carry it all with me until I learned it a little bit later working for the lender I do now. But the general premise of what hard money lending was and how to articulate yourself properly on conversations and and what verbiage to use and stuff really like primed me to take action when I saw this opportunity come up with my new hard money lending partner.
Oh, that's cool. And then now this is a component of kind of like your revenue moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've done right at 50 million. So as this airs, we've done 50 million and some change in hard money loans over the last 3 years. Or like two and a half years, because we shut down partially for COVID. The whole country did.
Yeah.
So we were out of work for probably 8 months. They were only funding locally, so all the brokers and the 1099, like indirect private contractors and stuff, they were kind of just like released. So I didn't have a revenue stream then, which was scary, because I was making like $2, $3, $4 a month extra. I know it doesn't sound like a ton, but at the time that was amazing money. It was almost enough to replace my Coast Guard income. And when you're doubling up and you have the Robert Kiyosaki in your back of your head saying, "Hey, save money and invest," we were able to save. We went from $1,000 to like $4,000 a month, and then our account started to grow. So that was really prolific, like in building me up early on in my career. And then fast forward to today, so 50 million later, we currently have $37 million in ground up construction loans on the cusp of being funded, which will literally like almost catch me up over the last 3 years in like 3 months time.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm like, do I focus on the residential hard money lending, or do I start honing my skills and start approaching like these developers?
Yeah.
Because one deal could make a 5-year span of regular lending to single families.
Yeah, but also taxes.
Yeah, so I wanted to touch on that. I'm glad you said that. So the reason why we're converting 2 of those properties into holds is because in the eyes of the IRS, I can't right now become a real estate professional. So I don't have the tax benefits. I can't be I can't take advantage of syndication deals. I can't do deferred taxes, or I can't do cost segregation studies on my Airbnbs, or any kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, because you won't be able to offset. You would have to be able to offset only passive income, and then you're limited on how much you can offset your active income.
Yep.
Talk to your CPA.
I will talk to my CPA, yeah.
But so this is definitely, I mean, that's going to be a game changer. I mean, once you retire from the Coast Guard, do they know that you're retiring?
Yeah. So I'm getting medically discharged because I have a bad back.
Okay.
From some instances and stuff throughout the military career, but I work on helicopters as an electrician, so I work on all the electrical components on the helicopter.
Okay.
We also do search and rescue missions and stuff too. So we deploy. We go out in the middle of the ocean. We pick you up off your boat when you're drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning.
We'll call you. We have your number now.
Please don't. I no longer do that.
Wow.
Yeah. So I grew up doing like that's my 10-year career in the Coast Guard. Is the majority of that has been that.
Yeah,
but I always knew. Initially, when I got in the Coast Guard, I was like, man, I'm going to do this for life, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's no other reason to do anything less or anything other than that, right?
Well, it sounds cool.
It is cool for the first, 4 years.
Fly out
and
in
then
a
you're just
helicopter, jump in the water.
We got another EPIRB call, and it's just some bullcrap call, and you're just out there flying at 2 o'clock in the morning for 4 hours, and you got to pee, and you can't pee because you're on a helicopter, and it's just like, it sucks.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's good and bad, and I love the Coast Guard. I love the value that it's provided me throughout my career. Obviously, it was a stepping stone into what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And I love the people and the relationships and the knowledge that I've built, the devotion to my business, right? So like that back against the wall mentality is kind of what I've been brought up.
And I think discipline also, discipline. When I interview like professional athlete or people in the military and stuff like that. They are disciplined, so they do what they're gonna say they're gonna do. So they just they keep themselves honest, and then they just do what they said they're gonna do, what they plan to do, and they're just very disciplined. They know how to kind of like go through some, just getting up in the morning and starting to call people and starting to work and stuff like that. When you're an entrepreneur, it's not always that easy to get up and start working right away and plug away. Problems are not every day is good, and some of the work that you do, like you're wearing multiple hats. There's some hats that you don't like wearing, like the accountant hat, the tax hat, all those things.
Yeah.
But as an entrepreneur, you have to do it. You just
at least initially, until you learn
exactly
to hire.
Yes, exactly.
Which is exciting, because I really do this pain point that I'm feeling in my business right now, and don't get me wrong, this is not going to sink my ship, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
I have enough money to float, whatever. Now I'm like, okay, now my eyes have opened again to like, where are the pain points in my business? What's out there that I'm not seeing?
Yeah.
How can I delegate to identify these sooner so I don't make these issues, which in turn would probably allow me to scale a little bit quicker too.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the point. That's the point that I'm in my company right now. Is it's gonna be a pain point getting out of the Coast Guard and that initial struggle, but I'm glad that I had 3 years to practice.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about kind of that transition, like transitioning from your full-time job and then kind of like juggling the time management of it. Any kind of like assistance or clues that you can give people that are still working full-time? They're trying to kind of manage also their real estate business, and then kind of like, at what point do I go and switch off my full-time job and then jump into real estate full-time?
So that's two questions, or two. I want to make
At
two.
least two.
I want to make two statements. So, one, you have to be like the drive. You have to be so driven and willing to make sacrifices in your business, no matter what. Like, hey, I can't hit this party up on a Friday night because I know I got closings happening, or I have to, I have all these leads that I have to work over. Or I have deals to analyze, or I have to raise capital. Like, all these different things can come up in your business. You have to be willing to burn the midnight oil. And dude, for the first 2 years, my wife thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like nonstop. And it felt good the other night to get back to that 10, 11 o'clock night where I'm on the phone, making calls, doing deals, figuring crap out. I was like, dude, I got comfortable in my business.
Yeah.
Right. Cause I figured out a way to automate pretty much everything that I do. I do transaction balance once a month with all my flips, all the credit card statements that come in for that month. I do all my draws. Like, all that stuff is all like preset in my mind. The only thing that happens throughout the month is like paying like random stuff.
Yeah.
Like the utility bills or water bills, they come in random times throughout the month, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So all that was automated. I was kind of like I was just coasting for a while. And now the pain point hit, and I'm like, dude, it's exciting. It really does get me excited again, because that passion, that drive, that motivation comes back. And I'm like, damn, like, I got work to do. Like, I was settling out and having fun and enjoying my time, which there is a happy medium that you should attain. It's very hard to do so in a W-2. That's why people leave. Yeah. But to your point, and what I'd like to touch on is you have to be vicious with wanting to succeed. You have to remember, at the end of the day, I made a post about this the other day. Nobody's hand-holding. You're your own boss.
Yeah.
There's nobody holding you accountable.
That's right.
Unless you're in a coaching group and you're paying them to hold you accountable. Why did you do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I understand coaching.
If you need
coaching
help,
at every level should be a 100% thing.
Yeah.
Because it can get you past pain points that you wouldn't have recognized, like I'm going through now, right? Those could be identified by a person that's 10x what I'm at. He's like, hey, you're gonna hit this roadblock right here. Here's how to prepare for it. I love coaching. I have a coaching business.
Yeah.
I love doing it. I love helping. It's beginner to intermediate, like real estate investing, right? But there's no sugarcoating it. It is what it has to be.
Yeah, to me, like, it's not that the coaching is not really about keeping you accountable. I think you as an entrepreneur, you have to be driven. You have to know and you have to know that you have to do something. You have to make things happen.
Yeah.
Things are not going to happen on their own.
Yeah.
You're making the business. So that's one thing. Where the coaching and the mentorship, I think, helps is to give you the confidence and the knowledge to go through certain things.
Yeah.
Like when I was 18 years old, I bought my 8-unit apartment building. I don't think I would have been able to do that without the help of my mentor.
Wow.
Because it was just like, there was so many, like, I was talking to the real estate broker, and he kept telling me that what you're looking for, that doesn't exist. And he just kept throwing me properties that the numbers didn't work for me and all that kind of stuff. I said, you're never going to be able to do that, blah, blah. And then, but my mentor kept saying, no, don't worry about that. It's just like, keep looking. There are some properties out there that are going to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
And eventually, yeah, I found one. I probably analyzed like 400 or 500 properties
Yeah.
on paper, and then there was probably a couple that worked, and then only one of them would take a vendor take back, like a
Seller finance.
seller financing for
Gotcha.
the second
Yeah,
for
yeah,
a
yeah.
second.
Those are
of
very
the
rare to
20.
get funded. Yeah.
Yeah, they were. So they were hard to find. I had no money. I was at university. I had like $100 in my bank account. But the point is that he gave me knowledge on how to analyze deals, and he also gave me the confidence to push through when you don't know. When you keep hearing no and you keep hearing your head hitting your head against the wall, it's hard to continue to say no. I know there is something, you know. But once you have a mentor that says no, don't worry, there is a deal out there. You just keep looking.
Yeah.
So, and that was part of it, and also for getting the financing and all the other.
Yeah, they have
problems.
connections that you don't, and
Exactly.
they have systems that you don't, and softwares that you don't, and pain point, pressure plays that you can go through in scenarios in your head. And to touch on your point, like you were asking about how do you know you're ready to leave the W-2? I personally wanted to replace my Coast Guard income and be able to do so for an entire year, like straight through. If I was able to replace my Coast Guard income for a solid year and I had proof of concept and I was only growing, that for me was enough to be able to go full time into it. That and here's another thing that's super important. I think people miss this ideology. You don't grow with, don't increase your lifestyle and your liabilities to the amount of money that you're making, because you got to remember, in real estate, it's gone. It can be if you're not poised properly and your business isn't structured right. I see so many people. I'm not gonna say so many. I've seen people who make really, really good money, but I ask them to go out to dinner, like, dude, or like my credit card's max this month, or I'm like, dude, what do you like? What? You guys make like a couple million a year, but he's driving a G-Wagon, has a Lambo at home in the garage, he's got a $5 million house. Like, that's me. I'm the frugal investor, right?
Yeah.
I still shop at Marshalls. I buy on clearance. I don't eat at freaking Benihana's, or I don't even know like an expensive restaurant.
That's super expensive.
Yeah, I don't even know an expensive
Chipotle.
Yeah, Chipotle. I mean, Jesus, it's only McDonald's. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think frugality, especially when you're seeking that financial freedom opportunity to leave your W-2, frugality has to be a part of the play. It has to be.
Well, I think I think you have to be prepared. Like when at the Lamborghini, I mean, you keep hearing that a lot on the
Cloud.
You saw what I drive. It's not a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And then so
My shit's paid
to me,
off.
why?
I could have bought a new truck, but I can't do the. I was trying to do the 179 tax deduction this year, because I'm like, dude, we're gonna pay a lot of taxes this year, or prospective pay a lot of taxes this year, and I'm like, what?
Well, that's when you buy the Lamborghini.
Yeah, but even then, I'm like, why would I spend money on especially at the top of the car market? Oh my God, I couldn't imagine buying an $80,000
depreciation.
Free car.
Free. Boom.
I wish
You'd rather give the money to the government.
No, I'm gonna keep it in my properties and not sell them.
There, do that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I'm gonna do. And when I do get to a pain point where I have to offset something like that, I'm just gonna do a syndication or something, man.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna force myself to drive a Mercedes Benz when I don't want to.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Homosi was talking about taxes and stuff like that. How people are kind of like trying to get all these tax advantages or tax deductions and stuff like that, and they do all kinds of crazy things, sacrificing their lifestyle, their family, their time and stuff like that, just to get some additional tax deduction. So people had to fly to Puerto Rico and make sure they were staying in Puerto Rico at least 100 days, a year and stuff like that. And
it's crazy, man. What are we doing this for?
Exactly, to save a few bucks. I said, it's not worth it. He said, you're just... So it was a pretty good episode where he was talking about that. You have to... I mean, as you know, I mean, I'm all about not paying too much in taxes.
Yes, there's the guy who almost bought a $2 million yacht.
it's still a possibility.
I would encourage that. I love the water, man. I'm biased though.
Bonus depreciation.
Yeah, and all you have to do is slap something on there, fat lady or whatever on the back of it.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, it's
I
the
wouldn't
mascot
slap-
of my business.
I wouldn't slap.
Fat lady.
I don't know.
Don't slap a flat fat lady. It was like-
Slap a fat lady
fat
on the back
lady?
of the boat.
Yeah.
So yeah,
The police show up.
Yeah, the
Slapped a fat
the
lady
visual,
back here.
the visuals on that. It was like-
that's funny. Yeah, bonus
Probably something
depreciation.
that happened as a Coast Guard. You probably saw.
Yeah.
Oh
fat
man,
ladies
you
being slapped.
Yeah.
you guys would laugh at the stuff that I've seen, man. It's been
Yeah.
crazy.
But yeah, we almost did buy a yacht because the yachts I mean, this was in California. Here you could probably do it like way better.
Yeah.
But they have these companies you can like a yacht club.
Yeah.
You buy a yacht, you give it to the yacht club, and you'd split revenue. So you
Oh,
get
wow.
the deduction, then you bring it to the yacht club, be like, hey, I just want it 10 weekends a year. You can rent them out the rest of them. Just I'll choose all my dates right now. You can rent them out. We'll split the profits. So you get the tax deduction, plus you get a income generating kind of asset.
Does it end up like covering the purchase price of the boat and like the managing expense, like the managing and operating expenses?
Yeah,
of
but
the
you have a
boat?
massive like bonus depreciation that you would get.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole boat. You
And it
finance
cash
the-
flows.
And it cash
Oh,
flows.
in a cash
Oh,
flow.
yeah.
Oh,
man,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
genius.
Yeah,
So that's what
I didn't think it would cash flow either, but yeah,
No,
I
it
mean,
makes
there's-
money, man.
They
that's
make,
that's
they
what
make
people
money.
do with
8%
with,
cash
with
on
charter
cash
jets
return.
too, right?
Yeah, you can do that
Yeah.
with the jet too.
Yeah.
So you can buy like you don't need to buy like a crazy jet. You can buy like a $10 million jet,
Yeah,
which some boats get up there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, not just
Only
like
$10
just a cheap $10
million.
million jet. You know what I mean?
yeah, just a cheap one.
Yeah, get one of the cheap ones, and then you can go to a jet chartering one. They have all the pilots and all that, and be
Wow.
like, hey, when I use my jet, I won't pay for any of the, chartering fees, but I'll still pay for your services,
Crazy,
the
man.
fuel and the pilots. So yeah, I mean, you can do that.
Thank you for telling me this. Now I have ammunition
Yeah,
to go back to the wife and be
But
like,
you
I
have
need a
to
bigger
be,
boat.
you have to be careful. But first of all, it has to be kind of like run as a business.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And also, so talk to your CPA.
Corporate umbrella
to
to
make
make structured
sure-
with
yeah.
LLC.
It has to be just structured the right way.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
has
yeah,
to be
yeah.
structured the right way, and it has to be a business, and it has to make sure that it's going to offset other gains that you
Yeah,
that you
correct.
have,
Yeah.
right?
The real
Because
estate gains,
otherwise,
yeah.
you can
That could
end
be
up-
an episode in itself, just talking about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we're not qualified to talk about it, but
That's right.
I mean,
Yes.
man, the tax advantages and
Yeah.
there's so many different ways and so many, I wouldn't say loopholes, but the tax code's written that way for a reason, right? So
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
And so
take
because
advantage
Well, exactly. Right.
and because you're not a real estate professional, you can't go buy rentals and then just write them off, right?
of it. No. So I
Yeah.
can do it in an LLC up to a certain point, but I can't depreciate the property. I can only offset like regular expenses.
Okay.
Like, oh, I fixed the toilet.
But
here's
you
the
can't do the
$400.
bonus
I
depreciation.
can't.
Well, technically,
can't.
he could do it, but you have no advantage, right? of
No, I have
doing
no
that,
adv-
because
yeah.
you won't be able to. His income is coming from ordinary income,
Yeah.
W2.
so he won't be able to offset that with the depreciation. It's only going to be able to depreciate on the passive income side.
Now, what I did do
see.
in this year,
Up to there's a you can actually offset a little bit, but it's very little. I think it's like $25,000.
yeah, it's not enough to like,
Yeah, I see.
yeah. So what I did, what I was able to do this year was I did buy a boat. I have it's a smaller one. It fits on the side of my house. 2018.
So it's thin lady then,
Yeah, well,
skinny lady.
yeah, white lady. My CPA allowed me to write off,
Okay.
or sorry, to depreciate the boat
Okay.
by like 90%,
Nice.
which is great because
Yeah, yeah.
it ended up saving me like I don't know, like 4,000 or 5,000 in taxes. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was great, and
Absolutely.
we chauffeur clients on the boat, showing them waterfront property and stuff,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
and keep fuel logs and maintenance expenses and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
See,
So,
right there, it's useful.
But I almost bought a Lamborghini too because I was talking to the CPA about it, and then you can rent it out on Turo, right? So you can also do the same thing with cars.
advertising with the Lamborghini. So if you do reels, on
Yeah,
your
that too,
Instagram,
yeah, yeah,
it's a part of an advertising
yeah.
expense.
And that's why some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why some people do it.
Yeah. It's smart, right? But it's not smart for me at the position I'm in right now.
Yeah.
Can I afford it? Yes. Do I want to afford it? No.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's a very big life, like a
And you
boat.
put a target on your back too, man.
Yeah, I don't like.
Especially down here.
Yeah, I don't like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I much prefer
not
the.
if, not if you have a boat. Here, you have
No,
to
the
have a
boat- the
massive
boat, I
boat
agree,
to
but
be
the
able to
car-
target.
yeah.
But the
Florida's a lot of
car
money.
the car is a bigger target. Like having a Lamborghini is a bigger target than a yacht. In my
100%,
opinion.
absolutely,
Yeah, because
yeah.
you're in the damn car every single day, driving around, whatever. You get like one little ding on it, or brake pad, whatever. It's just so many people can damage it, especially on Turo. Unless you have forced them to get a driver, then you got like crazy drunk people driving your Lamborghini.
Oh, that's what we were looking at too, the Maybachs.
So they were having speed. So my buddy does sort of like the exotic rental down here. He would put some sort of wheel slip sensor to see if they were burning out in the Lambo, and he would keep their $2,000 damage deposit.
That might not be enough deposit though.
Yeah, Pilot Sport Cup 2s are like $3,000 for a set. So if you roast those off, I mean, it's a $3,000 expense plus all the burnt rubbers on the
tires and all that.
Yeah, and who else? And they also had. I mean, dude, it really does take the fun out of it, man. Because like, if you got to rent out your Lamborghini on tour, I get there's an exotic rental space, but like, do it as a business.
Yeah.
Not on Turo, man, because you're gonna have the literal bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
To rent this car out, and they're gonna destroy it, man.
Yeah.
Like my buddy, the whole front carbon splitter on his Lamborghini cracked on a speed bump because they didn't push the button to it was a Huracan. They didn't push the button to bring the nose up. They ran right into this freaking speed bump, and it popped the carbon. I mean, dude, that's a $40K expense, man.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of damage deposit you have. You know what I mean? Like,
Hell no, you're not gonna get.
Yeah,
40K.
so it's not worth it. And we're talking about cars now, not real estate, but
But the yachts too. That's why we like the yachts, because the yachts, it was like you had to have a captain.
in a crew.
And a crew, if you wanted to have a crew
Kinda
as
hard to screw it
well.
up.
And then there's also the cleaning fee. So even if people puke everywhere, so like you can buy like a boat that's insulated, like for puke control.
Well, when you guys get it, now that we're friends,
Absolutely.
you can go out.
We're actually
on it.
going this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
I'll be up in
Sunday.
Clearwater checking on the property.
check
Thanks for the
Sunday.
invite.
Oh man.
Damn it. So back into the real estate. We'll segue.
What? Is that what we're
Wait,
talking
what?
about?
Yeah. So we'll segue back into hard money lending, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
as far as building income streams for what I felt comfortable, right? So I have affiliate, I have coaching, I have real estate, I have hard money lending, I have commercial lending, and then I have like AdSense revenue or whatever, right? And then I have my wife's income. So I wanted to have all those incomes because they
So you're gonna retire from the Coast Guard, but your wife is gonna continue working.
you know what's crazy is since I brought that up, last week we were walking the puppy and she goes, "Hey, get a conglomerate of real estate items that you want me to study. I would like to eventually leave the school because she's an administrator at a charter school system in Broward, and she wants to come on the
That's
company.
fantastic.
But she's good at what I'm not.
Yeah.
So now instead of I'll keep the relationship going with my business partner up in Clearwater, of course. But now I'm going to segment down to South Florida.
Yeah, that's good.
And start really taking it. So we'll talk.
For sure.
Because for us, it's a family business. I mean, Antoine kick-started that. I mean, we were, just talking. I was busy full time. He was doing all the hard work and stuff like that to get it off the ground. Eventually, sold my house, went full time into that. Quit the independent consulting where I was making a lot of money. That was a little bit addictive. And then, then eventually,
Where do I sign up? No, I'm just kidding.
and then my wife Lynn. Then also, when I think at Christmas or New Year, we said, why are you doing? She was working at some kind of wine store, and then she was working during the holidays. Is it like what kind of nonsense is that? It's like she came home from Christmas and she was tired, and
she had to work Christmas Day. It was like Christmas
Day.
Eve, and then we do everything on Christmas Eve. I flew in from LA to San Francisco to spend Christmas. She's like, "Yeah, I gotta fucking work tomorrow." I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, just come take some sales calls. Like, give your 2 weeks."
How much are you going to make there? Here it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We matched it.
Oh,
I
it was
think
not
she's
even-
making not even like that. She spent half of it on wine. But
I love wine. So I don't blame her.
The company didn't cost them anything to have my wife
Yeah.
work there because she was spending more on wine, I think.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
really. She's like made $200
That's
that
the perfect
day.
employee.
2
Yeah.
bottles. There you go.
That's a perfect business model. Why are we doing this?
So yeah, she called. I think she worked that Christmas Day, and then the next day she called 2 weeks notice. Then January 30th maybe she started with us.
Yeah.
Dang, that's awesome. Yeah, so I mean that's the ultimate goal, man, is nothing against the W-2 worker. This is why we aspire to to want and become more is because we know that what we're doing is less than what we're capable of, right? So when I tell her, hey, babe, I just got off the phone with a ground up construction contractor. When this loan closes off my 4-minute conversation with him, I'll make $100,000. It saddens her.
Yeah.
I know it hits. I hate telling her about my wins because they do come easy sometimes.
Yeah.
But I remember I've been in this for not a long time, 3.5 years, but I've built the power and the relationships and the network to be able to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
For that to happen for me, right? I was just telling your dad earlier. We had a conversation with Tarek Al Musa today, and we're gonna hopefully be providing him the marketing channel, the affiliate marketing that I was telling you about, the marketing channel, direct mail marketing campaign for him and his company of students of 700. If that goes through, I'm not going to disclose how much I'm making, but it's a lot more than I was getting paid in the Coast Guard, and this is passive.
Yeah.
This is mailbox money.
Yeah.
When I told my wife that, like, how do you get motivated to want to go back to work when you see
really.
so much opportunity in front of you?
Yeah.
The world is yours. You just have to put the effort in the work.
Wait, so this direct mail thing. So you're an affiliate to a direct mail company?
Yes. So
And
my buddy owns the company,
Oh, okay.
and I'm an affiliate under him.
Got it. So you pushing all that 700 people, let's say they all signed up, 700 people all through the system, then you would just make your affiliate fee on every single time. Oh, damn.
Yep.
That's
And it's 2-tiered too. So whenever they send their affiliate codes out to their friends, I make money when they do deals too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. so
Awesome.
it's a perpetual type
Yeah.
thing, which is
Nice.
super sick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you got to remember, all 700 students aren't going to take action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to get like a 10%. So like, let's say 70, but those 70 are ordering, a couple 100,000 mailers a year.
Yeah.
I get 10% of that. And then they become successful and they continue using. And then I shot my shot. I was like, hey, we're on a conversation with Tarek in 2 weeks about pitching him the hard money lending service for his students, because we're a national hard money lender.
Yeah.
I can do all the students' deals. So we're working on a system right now to streamline that process for his students, so pre-qualification can happen instantly. They don't have to go in and submit an application. That's like second tier conversion.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we'll pre-qualify you with the sheet up front, and then we'll pitch you to the application once we know that we can fund the deal.
Yeah.
And then I'll make commission based off of those too.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's just it's a funnel.
Yeah.
It's a tiered funnel. But like I said, I put myself in these rooms, I put myself in these positions, I put myself in these positions, networking with great people like yourselves, to get in your platform and tell my story and motivate others to do and want to do more. It is possible.
Yeah.
I'm a C- student from Murphy, North Carolina. You know where Murphy, North Carolina is? Neither does 99% of the population, man. It's this town of 1,600 in Western North Carolina. If you wander too far in the woods, you're hearing banjo music. If I can do it,
Yeah.
anybody can do it.
Wow.
And I'm not saying I'm freaking Donald Trump, but I'm doing okay. You know what I mean? I don't need to be Donald
But you don't need to do massive. You
Exactly.
you don't need to make $10 million a year
Exactly.
to be happy. I think the first step to me, like, is the financial freedom. So buying your time back, I think this is very, very critical.
Yeah.
And then you have to build that passive income to get there. After that, then you have other opportunities that come your way.
Yeah.
And then we can start talking about, maybe doing hard money lending, doing mentorship, doing we had like a title company, trucking company,
Yeah.
boating company.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
then
I'd love to be a part of
all
the
of
boating
that, right? So all of that comes after, because it takes time to kind of like go and investigate any of these other opportunities, and then
And networking to learn about these
Yeah,
opportunities.
exactly.
I had no idea you could have a yacht and throw it to a charter company and have it as a write-off, and it makes money.
yeah.
Yep.
Why isn't everyone doing that? Because they don't know.
Yeah.
And we might want to cut this part out. But there's
We're
just
gonna
a
blur- we're
plethora
gonna-
of yachts just infiltrate Miami. Where are these people coming from?
Yeah. They are expensive. Like, damn.
Oh, hell
To
yeah.
get a
Operating
good one,
costs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the gas fee. I mean, the people pay for
They
all
pay
that
for the
kind of
gas.
stuff.
They don't even- we don't-
But like, still, like, even-
Insurance is probably astronomical because
Yeah.
every yacht goes on fire down here in South Florida. Like,
Well, there was a big fire in
I mean,
Greece recently,
dude.
and a bunch of mega yacht
yeah.
burned down.
Oh my God, I burned
wait,
down.
really? How does the yacht burn down? What?
You tell me, bro.
There's a lot of fuel.
And guess what? You can't.
Is it from people
It's
smoking on
it's
the?
no, it's the literal perfect insurance fraud scheme. How can you investigate something that burned to the ground and sunk underwater? How the hell are you going to find out how it caught fire? And you know how hot fiberglass burns?
Yeah.
Dude, it's the hottest of hot. It's way hotter than wood and resin and urethane and all those things that are on board that ship, plus the diesel fuel. Good luck finding out how
Well,
it burned.
we heard it here from the Coast Guards.
Wow. Nobody ever died. But all these
Yeah, nobody
Who
ever
said that?
died. Oh,
Fat
we were all
lady.
at dinner, and miraculously, my 150-foot yacht
Wow.
poofed up into flame. Yeah.
No way.
Swear to God, man.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Now
you
you learned
learned-
something.
Yeah, exactly what I was gonna say.
Definitely erasing
Holy
that.
shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
Just gotta get high.
I just gave a lot of ideas to a lot of people.
Yeah. Wow.
It's more tons of houses,
Yeah,
tons
yeah.
of
We
boats
look out at our
burning.
views.
What's going on?
Everyone owns yachts now. They're all on fire.
No.
Holy shit.
Yeah, great chat, man.
So let's talk about the how do people buy boats? No.
Yeah.
No. So let's talk about kind of like
Sweet.
how do people like your recommendation on how should people like somebody that's working at home right now, not at home, working W-2, and then they want to say, I'm really interested in this. I'm interested in hard money lending, or I'm interested in the real estate. So how do I get started? I'm driven. I want to do that, but I don't know where to start. How do they get started?
Find your motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes with knowledge of real estate as a whole. Like, everyone wants to be in real estate to make money, right? That's the majority of why people in the tax benefits, hugely the tax benefits. But it really isn't that simple. And I'm attesting to that. Like 3.5 years later, I'm just now like getting into a scale point in my company from baby steps. And I that was probably a little bit more to my doing, but it was the growth point that I wanted to achieve, right? I think really building your knowledge base and figuring out what you want to do, and then like viciously chasing after that one thing and learning as much as you can about it, and then getting into, hey, how can I network with people who are doing this? And not only networking with people, but adding value. Antoine and I started talking because he put a post up on his Instagram of yacht charter availability in Miami.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I sent him freaking 11 yachts, and he gave me the middle finger emoji, and I was like, okay, I guess that's my relationship with Antoine. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't do
That's
that.
normally how it starts.
Then I saw his post a week later saying, hey, I'm looking for podcast guests in the area. I don't know if that played into why you guys chose me because we had a prior conversation, but
Yes.
it really is that, like, getting into someone's and just providing value. Don't ask for something first. Hey, I have money. I'd like to get into the business. I have a opportunity to do something
Yeah.
with you. I'd like to put on your plate. Like Ryan Pineda, I don't know if you guys know who that is.
Yeah.
He is the wizard of opportunity. He has built such a framework of just the ability to get into so many different things with other people that are already experts in that space. AJ Osborne, where they're converting a Kmart now. Ryan's not doing anything.
Yeah.
He's using his social media influence to raise the capital to put into the project, and AJ's running the boots on the ground because he's a professional at it. And then Ryan will make freaking $10 million.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, get in those people's DMs, provide them value, give them opportunity. Don't have your hand out when you approach. Give back, give first, and then if you receive, cool. If you don't, then the opportunity wasn't there.
Yeah, I know we were trying to get into the our first attempt to get into the assisted living, or maybe second attempt to get into the assisted living space here in Florida. We thought it would be great.
Yeah.
And yeah, just networking. We went to some meetup. We met some lady that was a broker and stuff like that, and she found like the perfect partner
Wow.
to do that. He had like 3 or 4 and stuff like that. It's not gonna work out, unfortunately, but you know, that guy, he would have been the perfect partner if it would have worked out, but he just wanted us to just give him money, and then he wanted to have everything.
You
else.
guys want to be operators, and
I want to
figure
be,
it out.
I want to be part of the business,
Yeah.
or at least own the real estate.
That's
all
my-
he wanted was the loan. So
Yeah.
it's like, no, I'm not. I can't hide. Well, not hide, but I can't take advantage of all the great things that the tax code has provided if I'm just lending money. So.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. But like to your point, I think social media and networking, even if you don't have social media, you want to go to meetups. There's tons of meetups, and then meet people, shake hands, learn about what they're going to do.
Yeah, meetups. I
what
forgot to
what
add
they do.
that.
So this
And
is
another
fantastic.
thing is take advantage of the social media platforms' billion-dollar algorithms they have in place for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you want real estate content and you want to learn more about real estate, follow people that have
Yeah,
that are in real estate.
yeah.
I reverse wholesaled lots of land that I found on Facebook Marketplace.
No
It was a
way.
couple Facebook messages. Hey, is the lot still available? Cool. One of my hard money lending clients is a developer in freaking Palm City or Palm Bay,
Yeah.
up by Melbourne, where Blue Origin's at. I said, hey, bro, I got 4 lots of land. He's like, I'll buy them.
That's where you
I was
found
at the
yacht.
free-
That's
I
where
was
you
at-
found the yacht you want.
I was at the gym. I made $4,000 at the gym.
Wow.
Well, I was just in between sets. I was messing it back and forth, and I obviously was reverse wholesaling because I didn't have the
Yeah.
property under contract. I was just connecting buyer, and I was the middleman. I made sure my business went on the HUD. I
Yeah.
got paid out. I made freaking $4,000 at the gym.
Wow. That's good.
The
Oh.
algorithm's there for you.
Yeah.
Like if you, it will show you what you want to see. I promise
Yeah.
you. If you are constantly searching,
Oh, for
searching
sure, yeah.
marketplace, like homes for rent, homes for sale, whatever. Your only thing in your marketplace is gonna be home for sale, home for rent.
Yeah.
Period.
I know.
And then the same thing for your Instagram, like people you
Whenever
follow.
I'm looking
and
at
stuff.
Instagram, all I see is this face.
He puts out like 7 pieces of content a day. I'm like, Jesus, man.
Oh, I see Ayato's face.
What's that button?
Ayato's face for-
Snooze for a week.
Block,
Unfollow.
mute.
But we also part of a wholesaling company like Rocket Offer. So we see I see Ayato's face, the CEO of that.
Poor thing.
So yeah, no, it's like. Okay, so let's talk about the state of the business. How's so you invest in Greater Central Florida?
Yeah, I would say
Um,
Pinellas County, so like the west side of Central Florida.
Okay, and then so let's talk about that. So how's the business? How does the real estate business now? Because I think things are fluctuating.
Yeah.
With the interest rates and the supply and demand of the real estate market. How's
I think it
What
really
do you
only
see?
it really only boils down to like days on market.
Mm-hmm.
It's really only the only metric you really have to follow. It's days on market and average home value in the area that you're trying to flip. So the way my real estate like structure is poised is I take the market data from that market and whatever the average home price is for that market, I try to be at or below that for resale. Because 90% of the people who are trying to buy in that market are going to be at or below that threshold.
Yeah.
It's when you're getting it, or 97%. The other 3%, generally speaking, are looking for homes that are on the water, like
Yeah.
upper echelon neighborhoods, stuff like that. So we try to stay away from them unless there are exorbitant amount of profit to be made, right? And then it really doesn't matter how long it sits on the market. I'm still gonna make a crap ton of money. So for example, we have a property we paid $185 for. We're doing 85K rehab, 85K rent on it, and it'll be worth $650 after repair value. The net spread after everything is $354,000. It's a $650,000 property that I normally wouldn't have taken down, but
Yeah.
who freaking cares at that point? There's so much spread. It doesn't matter what the market does at that
Yeah,
point.
exactly, yeah.
When your equity cushion is more than what you have in the property,
Mm-hmm.
where can you fail? We'd have to go into a depression for me to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the other thing too is also, I mean, I think some of the deals that you were mentioning before too, maybe even before the podcast, that you basically got all your money out. So,
Yeah.
So you have multiple exit strategy. One of them you're going to do Airbnb. Another one is going to be a commercial rental and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So, and you refied, and then you have all your money out. So as long as you have a good financing, a fixed rate for at least that's going to cover the whatever period of
Yeah.
recession we're going to go through, then yeah, it doesn't matter what's going to happen to the real estate, really.
Yeah. And we're not greedy either, man, because we're leaving a lot of equity in these deals. Like that corporate rental, we only owe our note on it's 130. We're refinancing for 145 just to recuperate like furniture costs and stuff
Yeah.
like decorating and stuff. Like we could refinance it for 250,000 if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Well, that pull all that cash out. But I want to know that thing is poised for a recession rather than leverage it up to 80%, which I could, and then now I have a negative asset.
Yeah.
What was I doing with the money that whole time?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I get the velocity of money principle, but at that point, like my net worth is taking a hit because now I have it in cash instead of equity.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So the other thing too was, I mean, that's kind of what we were doing also with our own portfolio. We kind of we have multiple exit strategies. I mean, we can sell them as is as rental for turnkey. We can also go and, kind of up them up a little bit more. That we're in a residential area. We could also sell them to actual consumers that want to move in and be owner occupied.
And the cool thing about the space that we're in Pinellas County is a lot of the military people who are moving there are getting beat out by conventional or cash offers or stuff like that. So what we did was we started targeting those people because there's such a huge buyer pool built up of people who want to own homes, but they're on VA loans instead of regular whatever.
Yeah.
I was selling homes to Coasties and getting market value, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to shove an extra 10, 15 grand in my pocket if I can sell to a service member who's going to have a beautiful house that can't find anything. Like you can imagine the government uproots you, puts you in a place and you can't find a place to live.
Yeah.
Like what kind of mental struggle would that be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or not having a safe, or going off into the hood and not having a safe place to live.
And it's great too because you're using your network. I mean, the fact that you're a VA or you will be is going to be a couple of weeks.
I will be a veteran.
So that's taking advantage of that. I mean, people want to say, "Oh, I'm going to help another veteran. I'm going to, it's all kind of staying in the family."
I believe in giving
it's
back.
Very
man.
good, yeah. Absolutely.
Hand washes hands. Like I've been so fortunate in my come up with people extending their hands to me that I want to be that hand to give back. And then Antoine does a great job with his just free knowledge, man.
Yeah.
Whatever I can pump out there to help somebody. If somebody hits me in the DM and asks me a question, whatever, I'll answer it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just there for people, man. You know, at the end of the day, what are we if we can't help each other?
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Well, that's what I like about the real estate business in general. I think people are very open. I mean, you go to meetups and you talk to people, and people are very open. They wanna help. They wanna be in all kinds of different ways. It's a fantastic way to, if you want to do deals, if you're missing something, you're missing the money, you're missing the expertise, you're missing the deal, whatever.
And the ability to have an intellectual conversation with another human being about the same thing you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So that speaks volumes to me because from my perspective, and I'm not bashing anybody in the Coast Guard, but they're not entrepreneurs. They're military service members, right? And the majority of them don't own businesses.
No.
So for me to have an intellectual business conversation with them is just me talking to the wall.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh yeah, cool, dude. Okay, you made money. And then they just kind of walk away. Or they look at me like I'm a fucking piece of shit or something. You know what I mean? Like, so for me to get around other people such as yourself and people at these groups and just networking in general on social media and having those intellectual conversations that build me up, we find opportunities that come out in conversation to work with each other.
Right.
Oh, you need a lender for the 21 unit you just got under contract? Perfect. I'll price you up some options. If we can work together, great. Or vice versa. Hey, you need money to as a down payment. I know a guy that's sitting on 500 grand. I'll give him the contact. Just cut me on a finder's fee.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know what I mean? Like so many different ways to add value, man.
That's right.
It's awesome.
So love it. Any questions?
No, sir.
Your side. All right. So
Gentlemen,
Anthony, it
thank you
was
for
a
having me.
pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for
If
coming.
people want to reach out to you, they want to network, they want to see what you're doing, they want to ask questions, be part of your mentorship program, how do they reach out to you?
So I'm Tony Michael REI, common spelling REI on Instagram and TikTok, and then I'm not really active on Facebook, but Tony Michael on Facebook if you can find me.
Really. He's only
Good luck with
he's
that.
mainly on Marketplace.
They call me the one-stop shop. I'll just say that.
you have to find him on Marketplace. That's where you have to find him.
I'll be
Okay.
wholesaling you land from now
or yachts.
No, I appreciate you having me, guys.
Okay, well,
thanks for
it was
coming.
a pleasure. Thank you for coming. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to do these things every week. So, good luck. Thank you.